Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, I'm bringing you guys Week 3 tight end start or sit decisions for fantasy football in 2020. We are going to be discussing each and every single matchup from the week, all the way from Thursday night all the way until Monday night, talking about the tight end position, whether I want to start or sit the tight ends in the given matchups. Now, before I get into the video, I'd like to ask that if you guys do end up enjoying this video at any point, to please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Not only is it free, I post content every single day to help you guys win your 2020 Fantasy Football Championship, so I'd really appreciate if you guys could hit that subscribe button down below. Also, I'd like to give you guys a quick word from my friends and my sponsor over at OverlayDFS.com. Overlay DFS has introduced a new fantasy football game for the 2020 fantasy football season. It is called the Matchup Shop. It is the player versus player game that includes real-life aspects of betting with the spread. So pretty much it's fantasy points of a player versus fantasy points of another player, just with the addition of the spread. So in this scenario right here, we have Matt Ryan versus Mitch Trubisky. If you bet Mitch Trubisky, you get an additional 8.5 fantasy points, whereas if you bet Matt Ryan, you lose negative 8.5 fantasy points for that game. Who wins head-to-head with the spread is going to be the winner. It is very simple. Anyone can figure it out. Even I can win on there. So thank you guys all for listening to this spiel real quick. Make sure you guys check it out because you guys do all that research and you want to win some money with it. Make sure you check out overlaydfs.com. Link down below in the description. And we are back. Let's get right into it. Week 3 tight end start or sit decisions. We begin with Thursday Night Football just a couple of hours from now. When you guys are watching this, I'm going to be starting up Mike Gesicki for the Dolphins, going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. It seems like Devontae Parker is going to end up playing tonight. Obviously something to monitor, but Mike Gesicki is just a notable threat in the end zone, in the red zone. Ryan Fitzpatrick just loves to throw the ball his way, and I just think Mike Gesicki is going to light it up. He's been very good for the last 2 weeks of the season, and there's no denying that, especially last week up against the Buffalo Bills, who have a very good defense, a stout defense up against the tight end position, and he was still able to eat like his name was Ezekiel Elliott. So I'm going to go ahead here and start Mike Gesicki in this game up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to be sitting down Tyler Eifert, James O'Shaughnessy, all the guys at tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars, because I just feel like if you're playing one, you're just hoping for a tight end. And with Gesicki, you're going to be seeing a bunch of targets, not just hoping for a tutty. But it is definitely entirely possible that Mike Gesicki finds the end zone in this game, especially with how much Ryan Fitzpatrick looks towards Gesicki in the end zone. Next game here, we got the beginning of the early slate of games on Sunday. The Raiders at the New England Patriots. I'm going to be starting up Darren Waller in this game. Darren Waller, man, he was just getting targeted every single play up against the New Orleans Saints. The guy had a zillion targets, a zillion catches, a zillion yards. Darren Waller ate the New Orleans Saints for breakfast. I expect the same thing to happen up against New England. Now, I don't expect him to have, I don't even know how many receptions he had. I feel like it was over 10. Definitely over 10 targets. The guy was getting fed in that game like it was Thanksgiving dinner, and I just think that Darren Waller is going to play good up again against the Patriots. Now, obviously, Bill Belichick, kind of a smart motherfucker who's going to be able to figure out how to limit Darren Waller, but he is still going to be seeing a lot of targets, so he could definitely have a big game this week up against the New England Patriots after a big one up against the Saints last week. I'm going to be sitting down Ryan Izzo and friends at the New England Patriots. I just feel like none of those guys are notable enough to be willing to be started on my lineup at the tight end position in New England. Next game here, we got the 49ers at the New York Football Giants. Now, obviously, in this game, we are likely going to be without Jimmy Guap, Jimmy G, Jimmy GQ, Jimmy Garoppolo, whatever you want to call him. So, obviously, that's worse for the tight end position, since it's not the better quarterback. Nick Mullins is okay, though, and up against the New York Football Giants defense, which is not very good. I wouldn't be surprised if Jordan Reed or George Kittle had a good game. Now, George Kittle right now, I would say he's at a 30% chance in my head of playing. Because why would you risk George Kittle getting hurt on turf that last week everyone was complaining about because the turf is apparently so shit in MetLife? Why risk it on George Kittle? Why risk it on Jimmy Garoppolo? So I just don't know why they would play him. So in my opinion, I doubt he plays on Sunday. So George Kittle is not going to be starting in my lineup. Most likely, I say you start him if he's healthy, but I would say there's not a very high chance that he's going to be good to go on Sunday. Even if he is good to go, I just don't think they're going to play him. Jordan Reed, on the other hand, going to be great if George Kittle is out. Jordan Reed had quite the game last week up against the New York Football Jets. I think Jordan Reed also has a good game this week, a very safe tight end, a guy that is definitely a big threat in the end zone with the wide receiver core there being so banged up and them really not having any notable players. Evan Ingram, easy E, just not a guy you're looking to start anymore, to be honest with you. Sure, he has top 12 potential, but the guy just hasn't been doing anything. And up against the 49ers defense, I understand that the 49ers defense is hurt. They're banged up. Sure, that is true, but at the end of the day, it just seems like Evan Ingram just has not been able to do anything at all this year, and I'm just going to continue to believe that he's not going to be able to do anything until I see it happen with my own two eyes. Next game here, we got the Washington football team up against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. In this game, I like Logan Thomas going up against the Browns. Now, he's not necessarily like a top 10 pick, but he's a guy with a lot of upside. Seems like Dwayne Haskins likes to throw him the ball, and he seems to be a very big red zone threat for the Washington football team. For Austin Hooper, this guy is taking a Austin shit straight down your chest, all over your face. He's smearing it on there, and he's signing it AH. Oh man. He's just not, it's not that he's not good, it's that he just doesn't get looked at all by Baker Mayfield. If you want him to score, it's going to be strictly based off of a touchdown. So I don't know. I'm just not all bought into the Austin Hooper train. I wasn't bought in the offseason. I'm certainly not bought in now after 2 duds of games the past 2 weeks. Next game, here we got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Philadelphia Eagles. And I like a lot of tight ends in this game. Drew Sample, after CJ Uzomah, or whatever the guy's name is, Uzomah of the Bengals ends up getting hurt. Drew Sample was looking very good out there. Now, I understand that guy sounds like a fake name. That's your player 3 years down the line in Madden when you draft someone. His name is probably Drew Sample as well. It just looks like a fake fucking name. But the guy was a baller with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow definitely likes to look towards the tight end in Cincinnati. And since Drew Sample is going to be the starting tight end there, I definitely think he's valuable to start in a deeper type of league. Zach Ertz, to me, also a locked and loaded start every single week. He's the tight end on the team. Carson Wentz has been struggling a decent amount. The wide receivers there are hurt. Jalen Reagor likely to miss 4+ weeks of the NFL season due to an injury to his hand. So it seems like Zach Ertz is the clear number 1 look there for Carson Wentz. So I think that Zach Ertz is going to see a big game here up against a not-so-good Cincinnati Bengals defense. Now, I understand Dallas Goedert came down to earth like that guy who jumped out of the fucking thing like 8 years ago, coming from space, and he skyrocketed down to the planet. He was like fucking on fire coming down. I don't know if you guys remember that. I was like in 8th grade when that happened. But Dallas Goedert came down to earth, but I think he is going to rise back up again and play good up against a not-so-good Cincinnati Bengals defense. In my opinion, though, Zach Ertz would definitely be the tight end to start if you have both. Next game here, we got the L.A. Rams at the Buffalo Bills, and Tyler Higbee gave the Philadelphia Eagles the 2-tap at the tight end position last week. He was fucking them down. He was dicking them down. It was some double penetration, but just by one man, it just seemed like he had 2 dicks straight in their ass. Tyler Higbee was balling out of control up against the Eagles. Put up like 28+ fantasy points last week. It was disgusting. I said he was going to have a great week, and he did. Now he gets the Buffalo Bills. Definitely a tougher team up against the tight end, but we saw last week Mike Gesicki be quite successful, so I'm going to go ahead and believe again in Tyler Higbee as one of Jared Goff's favorite targets, especially in the red zone. I'm going to be sitting down Gerald Everett. He's not going to be a start at all this season unless we were to see Higbee go down. And Dawson Knox, one time, if you're with me, is going to be a sit as well for the Buffalo Bills. Just has not proved to really have all that defined of a role in the Bills offense in the pass-catching game. Next game here we're looking at is the Houston Texans at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, it seems like the Texan to start would be Jordan Akins. It just seems like he is going to be the main tight end there, seeing a majority of the snaps. Last year, we were kind of seeing it be tipsy-turvy. Each week, it would kind of be a different guy going up and down in snap count. Now it seems like it is Jordan Akins' job as the tight end there. So if you have to start one, it would be Atkins, but I just feel like it's a bit crazy of a start up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The steel curtain in Pittsburgh this week. Darren Fell is going to be a bench for me. Definitely not even a guy I would look to be starting. Eric Ebron, Vance McDonald, neither of these guys seem to be very good for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It just seems like Big Ben just airs it out to either Juju or he's going to throw it to Deontay Johnson. Obviously, James Washington and friends are going to be involved as well, but it just seems like the main targets there are the wide receivers, and he's not looking too much to throw the ball off to a tight end. Next game here, we got the Chicago Bears at the Atlanta Falcons. In this game, we saw Hayden Hurst finally do it. The man rose up to the occasion and balled out up against the Dallas Cowboys last week, and I expect nothing less than another banger game, back-to-back Michael Jordan 96-97 here for Hayden Hurst. I think he has a monster game up against the Chicago Bears yet again. Very involved in that Atlanta Falcons offense. I'm sitting down Jimmy Graham. I mean, come on. The only thing you're hoping for with Jimmy Graham is a touchdown. Obviously, he's playing up against the Atlanta Falcons defense, which is about as useful as a ripped condom, but it's okay because I don't think Jimmy Graham's really going to be doing anything or much at all in this game. Next matchup here, we got the Tennessee Titans at the Minnesota Vikings. In this game, Jonnu Smith definitely a lock. A.J. Brown going to miss this game, which makes Jonnu Smith an even better start. He seems like he's the number one target, in my opinion, at least for Ryan Tannehill, the guy Ryan Tannehill is going to be looking for in the offseason. I talked Jonnu up as potentially being one of those tight ends that you're going to draft later in the draft who's going to be very good. And it just so happens that we just talked about another one that I liked, Hayden Hurst. In this matchup up against the Minnesota Vikings, I see no reason why Jonnu Smith could not have a monster game up against a very bad defense in the Vikings. For the Vikings, it just seems like a hellhole of a pass offense. Kirk Cousins does not look good at all. He does not like that. So I would go with Irv Smith and Kyle Rudolph just as benches on my team. I don't even know why you would have them. They're just sits every single week. This offense looks awful in the pass-catching game besides Adam Thielen. So I'd go ahead and sit down Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, or Kyle the Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, as well as Irv Smith in this game. Next matchup, we head to the midday game. So if you guys have enjoyed thus far in this video, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. It's free. Again, like I said off the rip of the video, and I post content every single day to give you guys your best chance to dominate your fantasy football season. For the Jets, I just don't like Chris Herndon. I just feel like Sam Darnold just can't figure anything out. It's really all on Adam Gase. He just seems like a complete and utter dumbass. He's too busy snorting fucking coke before the game to devise a game plan, so I'm not going to go ahead and start Chris Herndon. Mo Alley Cox obviously could be a dangerous start. He could be giving the Jets his Mo Alley Cox, but at the end of the day, man, he was so good last week. I mean, you could start him if you're in a deeper league. I'm just not buying too much into that. Jack Doyle seems to be banged up still, so it seems like he's not going to end up playing on Sunday. Next game here, we got the Dallas Cowboys at the Seattle Seahawks. Blake Jarwin obviously out for the season. He was kind of that super duper late round pick that a lot of people were really buying into. Ends up getting hurt, so I'm not going to say that you're wrong if you like Blake Jarwin, but now Dalton Schultz seems to be the tight end one on that team, and I'm just not going to trust it on a weekly basis. I feel like last week it was Schultz, the next week it may be the third string tight end who now becomes the second string tight end, so I'm not going to buy super big into it, and I'm going to be sitting third leg Greg Olsen in this game up against the Dallas Cowboys. I just don't feel ultra confident in Greg. He looked awful on Sunday night. He literally had the ball in his hands. It fucking flew off his hands. The Patriots pick sixed it and ruined Russell Wilson's amazing year, not throwing a single interception until that one. Lions at Cardinals is the next game here. Now, TJ Hawkinson is a start, but he is also super risky. Just has been atrocious this year. So I don't know. I mean, like, the Cardinals last year were really awful against the tight end. This year, they seem to be pretty solid against the tight end. So I'm not going to buy super much into TJ Hawkinson. A huge risky play with a lot of upside, though, going up against the Cardinals. I'm going to be sitting down Max Williams and friends as the Cardinals tight ends because they are just not involved at all in that offense. Next game here, we got the Carolina Panthers at the LA Superchargers. Now, again, I'll note this, that Tyrod Taylor got stabbed in the fucking chest like his name was Julius Caesar. Bang, 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 a million times in the goddamn chest by the doctor, so he's not going to be able to play. So it's going to be Justin Herbert, the pervert, on Sunday, and I think Hunter Henry could have an excellent game with him up against a not-so-hot Carolina Panthers defense. I'm sitting down Ian Thomas. Just doesn't seem to be involved enough to be worthy of a start in Carolina. Next game here, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Denver Broncos. In this game, Horsecock Drew Lock is not going to be playing. The quarterback situation is kind of iffy in Denver. Do they start Blake Bortles, who they just brought in? Do they play Jeff Driscoll again? I don't know. And we probably won't know until Sunday. Either way, Noah Fant has been dominant in this offense. Cortland Sutton out for the season. Noah Fant looks to really emerge as a big piece in this offense. So I like Noah Fant here up against the Bucs. Gronk, complete bust. You can cut him at this point. He's so shit. He literally has 2 fantasy points this year in PPR leagues. It's embarrassing. I mean, maybe he'll get more involved later in the season, but right now he's not even worth rostering. O.J. Howard seems like the guy who's going to go get to the passes, but even then, I don't trust it, so I'm sitting both of those guys down. Now onto the Sunday night special between the Aaron Rodgers-led Green Bay Packers and the Drew Brees-led New Orleans Saints. I mean, Drew Brees looked fucking atrocious. Atrocious. Terrible. Last week on Monday up against the Las Vegas Raiders. He just looked so bad. Now, Jared Cook looked very good because he's very involved in the red zone. Now, didn't end up putting up big points in that game, but was still a solid start, and I believe he'll be a solid start again. Considering Michael Thomas isn't there, he seems like one of the safest options for Drew Brees to throw the ball to. I'm sitting all the Saints, or not the Saints tight ends, all the Packers tight ends in this game. Just don't see any of them even really being the number one guy on the team. It seems like a carousel of tight ends there in Green Bay with Mercedes Lewis, Jay Sternberger, as well as Robert Tonyan. Now onto the final game of the Week 3 slate. Chiefs at Ravens for Monday Night Football. And again, just like with the quarterbacks, it's pretty obvious who you're going to start. You're going to start Travis Kelce, and you're going to start Mark Andrews, and don't even think twice about it. I know Andrews had a bad week number 2, but I expect a big bounce back in a huge game up against the Kansas City Chiefs this Monday night. Obviously, Kelce is locked and loaded in your lineup as well, so thank you guys all for watching this video. Again, if you ended up enjoying it at any point, please, please, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win your 2020 Fantasy Football Championship. Also, check out overlaydfs.com. Link down below in the description. Have a great rest of your guys' day, and I'll see you motherfuckers later in the live stream. Goodbye!